Welcome to the CPaaSAA Talks Leadership Series podcast. My name is Kevin Nethercott, the managing partner here at the CPaaS Acceleration Alliance. For our friends, we call it CPaaSAA, and this is one of our CPaaSAA Talks. On this podcast, we chat with the industry's top leaders about key successes they have had in their careers and what we might learn from them. Today, we are honored to have Ahmed Omer, the head of CX from Enterprise. And for friends here in the industry, it's Abdi. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks, Kevin, for having me. And again, congratulations to the whole CPaaS Acceleration Alliance and the growth and the success that we've seen you guys going through recently, and amazing initiatives to be in.
Well, we appreciate your support and excited to talk a little bit about your personal journey in the CPaaS world. As I mentioned in the lead-in, what we like to do on this podcast is to talk to leaders within the industry about some of their personal successes and see how we can learn from those and share that with others that are out there, maybe attempting some of the same types of activities. So if you reflect back, it's been a few years since you took on your role here as the head of CX and were a key member. I know you did it as a team, but you were a key part of launching hosted services there at the time, Etisalat, now Enterprise. So walk us through a little bit about what that journey was like, kind of going from, like you to say, zero to hero and launching brand new services that had never existed before.
True, indeed. Thanks, Kevin. I think what is exciting to share, the journey was always being driven by a startup and an entrepreneurship thought process. And this is what our corporate organizations have actually made sure that leaders can achieve. It's the environment, it's the vision, it's the direction that the corporate or the company decided to do. So CPaaS was part of my portfolio in terms of managing the different services in what we call it cloud communication. And I think the evolutions that the corporate or the organization have decided to go in formerly known as Etisalat, is to be Etisalat and more. And the more have driven the thought process that there will be more in each and every industry to do. Fintech, IoT, cloud, security, name it. But I think it came very exciting to my end with this small portfolio of what we used to call it CPaaS or messaging and cloud messaging, is to evolve it into this cloud communication platform as a service. I think it was challenging in the early days to convince people that CPaaS is not really A2P messaging, and CPaaS is not only WhatsApp for business messaging, but it's a full ecosystems of APIs connected to different service providers, be it telco and non-telco. And of course, being close to the telco, the voice and the messaging was the easiest part. But we've also expanded the portfolio to include non-telco partners, similar to the Meta with the WhatsApp for business, email, and AWS. And we moved slowly to the digital channel. And I think the whole journey of evolving started with the big vision of a top-down view and a bottom-up view. But the top-down view is to start with business problems. And this is what drives my curiosity to really create something very unique in the regions where we started to drive conversations with customers and enterprises and government with regard to their business problems, acquisition, retentions, lifetime value. And then slowly, we started to get into specific problems in their operating model or in their business model. And then we went now to the communication and interaction to the consumer through the 6 different stages of the consumer journey, from awareness all the way to loyalty. And that was easy for us to reflect when we had the technology and the partnership ecosystem. So when you look at these 4 or 5 layers of what we provided in what we call EngageX, and again, it's a startup subsidiary or a startup unit within EN Enterprise that only specified on customer experience, was being driven by this thought process until we mastered the game of the CPaaS. And I was very proud with the team, of course, that we've created an ecosystems of partners on the retail business that really support this vision. So we've connected to all the service providers in the back ends that enabled us to enable these APIs. And then we came up with a very challenging situations where we found today that not all the technologies answer all the questions for the customers, and not all the business processes of the customers will be able to fulfill specific needs. So there was a gap in connecting the dots because Chinese, Korean, Arabic, and English and Spanish was different languages, but they are all interacting with the consumers using the different business processes. So we came up with a very unique competency called developer advocate. And this is where we've started to inject to the businesses a developer who will sit down with the customers. Of course, after the CX consultants create the workflow and decide that there is 2 to 3 technologies that need to be connected to solve those problems. We found today that the customer have a lot of legacy business processes applications that talks differently. And connecting the dots was the major challenge. And of course, the customer intellectual property or their internal system was owned by them, not by us. So the developer advocate came in the picture. They create these dots and they try to connect them to create a seamless experience to the customers. And eventually, with this code or this line of code or these integrations, we give it to the customers. We don't own it. So we give them the code, we give them the test bed, we give them even the documentation, and customers loved it. And that was the key of our success, where introduction of this group of developers in almost 16 to 17 development languages simplified the acquisition, but also the adoption. Because as all of you knows, in the CPaaS industry, it's not about introducing the technology, it's the usage of the traffic and the transactions and the engagements using these channels. So customer got excited. They've seen today that there is seamless connectivity between all of these business processes, and the customer doesn't see that because he comes into a specific channel and he doesn't really care about what's happening at the end. So he gets notified and aware about the new product or the promotions. He subscribe, he get the package, he get onboarded, he get the first bill, and he can even raise the case to the agent using the same interface. So it was an amazing breakthrough for us. And to be honest, this is where we started now to elevate now to the new product portfolio, which is a pure consultancy. So we moved from implementation team of technologies, developer advocates who used to connect the dots, into a real customer experience consultants who solve business problems, and technology comes later. So I think it was one of the breakthroughs. It's been almost 2 to 3 years now that we've been running this mini startup within these organizations, and the future is super bright. We don't believe in competition, we believe in collaborations. We are a small group of young people coming from different industries with different backgrounds, with the one vision and one ambition to really create an impact in people's life. So we are the B2B2C people who really change people's lives, including myself and yours.
Yeah, no, that's a great journey, and I think there's so many very interesting points that you shared with us openly about some of your success. So I really appreciate that. So as we look at that project, I wanted to dig in a couple of areas that I think are interesting that all of us are always dealing with when we're involved in a new project. Initially, it's the team, right? So you played a key role. I know you have the energy and excitement of an entrepreneur, but inside a big corporate telco, how were you able to bring a team together and have them have that same mindset to really be a startup inside a large organization like Etisalat at the time?
So I think it's an amazing question, and I would believe that my peer colleagues in telcos would actually face the same thing. Not only telcos, I would say big corporate organizations that has multiple processes. I think it's worth mentioning that the major motivation of me building the team is the team themselves. And this is where we've driven this whole revolutionary movements from the team's brain. Again, they are mid-age, they are young, they are from different industries, and that mix created the right creative environment for them to be heard. And it was my job to be a facilitator to execute these ideas. And I think one of the major roles or maybe factors that impacted this kind of environments that allow you to execute what you can execute is also the leadership view. Again, when the corporate have decided to really carve out business and let them go and play in their own league, I think it was a very, very wise decision to allow them to really work within those capacity and within those industries. So people who are experts in volleyball and basketball and football was really playing with the right players in the game. And this is where we've had to change the mindset to the guidelines and to the rules of that game. So I can't go into the league of basketball still playing with my legs. It doesn't work. And this is where, when we went into a very rational, structured approach to the management and to the higher chain of our command, they really understood. The market is growing into a double digit. We are trying to cope up. It's a great opportunity. It's a blue ocean. Why don't we give it a try? But it should be with the rules and the guidelines of that game. And they understood today that we need to change the way that we do business. We need to be agile. We need to change the model. It's consumption-based. It's not perpetual, and it's not hardware. It's a software. So all of these inputs from the team themselves, being driven by people who came from different industries trying to inject, and the top management's vision to really carve out and run this independently was one of the two major factors that drove this growth. And eventually, as we move in the journey and as we move into the game, we also adapt to the new rules of the games. We adapt to the new players in the game. We adapt to what's been happening internationally. Today, we are recognized on the global scale as an IDC major player, where we are not really serving customers in the global, but we decided to take the game to the next level, think globally, think internationally, but yes, play regionally. But we opened our mind, we opened our mindsets to really think, how does the international game players does it? How do they really do it? And how do they do it better? And we take what's really relevant to the culture and the market sense here. So when you run things by purpose, by rationales, and you put a logic to it, both working teams with you really get onboarded on it, wake up in the morning, feeling energetic and motivated to do things, and they see the changes that really put as ideas on the grounds. And of course, the management and the top guys also see the growth when it comes to the numbers. So it's an amazing combination that came in the right time with the right people. But again, it's been driven purely by the team's passion, the team's mindsets, the team energy, with the management's blessings and guidelines.
So I think that's an important part, though, right? I think a lot of corporations have the idea of, let's create, this smaller group, entrepreneurial type of project. But how did you find there were any insights on how you interacted with HQ or how you reported? Were there any hints there that maybe led to that success? Was it open communication, or was it, well, I only updated once a quarter, so that gave us the freedom to do it? How did you interact with management?
I think let's not forget, to be fair, I mean, not everything that's happened in the corporate is bad. I mean, let's be also fair that we in Engage X and EAN Enterprise, we still under the big umbrella of a very strong brand, which is EAN, the number one brand equity in the market. And whatever they are doing today in the HQ in terms of processes and guidelines are still relevant and very important when it comes to how do we run the business, how do we really manage our top line, the EBITDA, the margins, how to become ethical and compliance and do things in the right way, diversity, equity, inclusion. I think majority of the stuff, we've taken the best of the best. And this is where we say today that we are an entrepreneurship team, but backed up by a very strong corporate brand. And this is a very important combination. And this is where you should be smart enough to really take the best of both worlds, because eventually the success of the company and the direction wouldn't reach up to this level unless there is a brain, a vision, a purpose behind it. And it's very important for you to also take the best out of this one. So for me, I think the perception that majority of people have being part of the corporate and etc., it's not really bad and shouldn't be perceived bad, and shouldn't be perceived like it's been dragging you and slowing you down and etc. No, I mean, you'll always have the capacity of your ownership when it comes to the business. Yeah. But you will always have those main guidelines for you to start maintaining the brand, because we still sell and react in the market under the brand of EAN as a group, which is a very super strong brand. So for me, I wouldn't look into it negatively. I mean, thanks God, at least with our leadership and the corporate's mindsets today, things have been facilitated very, very well across the board when it comes to support functions, for example. But everything else when it comes to the business is under my responsibility. So I have the full chain, full supply chains today, from the consultants to the growth. There's a center of excellency, and I even handle the delivery. So the ownership will be in one place to ensure that you will be able to turn off the business very, very fast. Now, how this will be evolved in the future, there's multiple tracks. I cannot expose a lot of them, but I'm sure the people who's in the industries and been through such journey, they will understand that there is multiple directions that this kind of entrepreneurship within the corporate can go in many ways. But being part of this bigger family, being part of the brand, is something that we are super proud of, and we really, really take advantage of it, and we are very, very proud of it, and we always express this in our communications, especially in this part of the world where this brand means a lot to the consumer.
No, I think that's great insight. I think too often we do discount the brand recognition that large organizations have, and so there's a lot of positives from that too. So I appreciate you walking us through that. Now with any journey, especially if you're an entrepreneur in a startup environment, you're going to hit a wall. There's different challenges. There's mistakes that we make along the way, and have to pivot real time to get to that success. Is there a certain challenge? Well, I'll use the word, there's challenge, there's walls, there's failures, there's different things that we experience, right? So what's a learning that maybe you had along the way that you had an obstacle and then were able to overcome that?
No, I like the word mistakes and failures and goof ups and all of these words that people usually are shy hiding. They even say it with a very lower tones. We encourage doing mistakes. And in fact, if someone doesn't do a mistake in my team, he doesn't think. He's not into that level. It's okay to do a mistake 1 or 2, but not 3 times. But
Right.
for us, we really encourage failures, because this is how did we start it. I mean, we failed twice before we started what we started today. It's okay to do mistakes, Kevin. And I think one of the things that you've asked in your questions, how did you address them? I think we've created our culture based on 4 pillars. The first pillar is trust. And the trust is important across the organization, 360 degree. You need to start trusting your colleague. You need to start trusting your supply chain, management, subordinates. You need to create this culture of trust for people to say what they feel they want to say. But we also don't encourage ideas without plan. So the thing is, any idea that you will create out of your creativity, which is the second layer of our culture, is need to be backed up by the third layer, which is a plan. So it's okay for you to think and think widely and speak about your ideas and draw them in a whiteboard and ask 2 to 3 people to make them look nice. It's okay for you to build a plan around it. And the 4th pillar is to become accountable on this plan. That's why today the job description that we've created into my team, they are not the standard sales and pre-sales and delivery and implementation manager and project manager and etc. It's totally the difference. It's names that convey accountability of ideation concepts. Example, my product house today called Innovation Hub, which means their consistent job across their course of engagements with me is to become the really innovation hub in terms of creativity. They need to wake up in the morning, have an idea, build a plan around it, try to execute it. That might fail, come back. But the consistency of building this innovation and creativity hub with them will ensure that out of the 5, 6, 10 ideas that they will come up, 3 and 4 will be translated into an actual results. My sales team today is not sales, is not account team. They are customer experience consultant growth team. So they are in charge of the growth of their customers, and they're also in charge of the growth of this unit. My pre-sales team are center of excellency, and these are the bridge between what we call the growth and the delivery arm that we have. And these guys today, we call them a center of excellency because they go across different projects and different competencies, so they can serve multiple territories and multiple verticals. And then the delivery arm, it's not delivery, it's called value realization team. And this is where they make the dreams of these 2 people, which is growth and center of excellency, into reality that the customer sees. And as you can see, this has covered the first 3 pillars. There is a trust, there is a plan, there is accountability against it. And this is where we will be able to achieve regardless of failures or not. And this is the culture that we started to create among people. Now, facing walls and facing challenges across the course of this journey is the normal. I think my humble advice here is, with this entrepreneurship mindset, it's open for people to talk about problems. Because if you created the culture of punishments and shame and hiding, people will start to keep this below the carpet, and one day this thing will pile up and it will create a big bump for the whole organization to really move on. So we really encourage failures. People feel entrepreneurs in what they do. This is the nature of entrepreneurship mindsets, right? If you're an entrepreneur, it's okay for you to do failures. It's okay for you to do mistakes. It's okay for you to learn from them and start building on top of it. And I agree with you that maybe within corporates and big organizations, usually these are very expensive. But again, this is my role as a leader and as a lead of this unit, is to make sure today that there is contingency plans when such risks comes. So when you have these expensive failures are happening, or costly failures, let me just put it in this way, it had to be compensated by the right good ideas that came in the previous stage. And this is how you will be able to build up. So 2 to 3 failures will be covered by 6 success, 2 to 3 failures, 6 success. And the delta that you will always have is going to be definitely positive.
Excellent. No, that's great insight. Great attitude. I really like the naming, norm and culture that you're creating as part of your culture, enabling everyone to be thinking positively like that is great. One question I like to ask everybody in these sessions are, were there any technology or tools that you use that help reinforce or manage or whatever the case might be that you found helpful in making your team more efficient or scale? Maybe the interaction with customers was better. Just curious if you have any technology or tools that you might have used that helped you along your journey.
So let me start with the strategical part, because before you start to talk about technologies and tools and I think maybe this is a secret worth sharing, especially that we are in a very advanced stage in the market, is to make sure that every thing that you do today is being driven by a strategy. And there's a nice book that we've actually cascaded about the beginning of last year. It's the 1 Hour Strategy. It's the company that should be built by strategical thinkers. I think it's by German. But the objective, I'm not sure if you've seen the book or not, but the book today called 1 Hour Strategy, and it allows you to run a specific model across the whole organization in a different chain. And that's allow executives and leaders in my teams have a specific time of their 40 working hours a week dedicated for strategy. And this amount really reduce as you move into the chain. And this is where everything that they do today in an operational mode need to be changed into a strategical directions. And for that, there is a specific format and there is a specific guidelines of how to run it in this way. But it's a very efficient approach that allows people to transform their daily activities, daily operational activities. You know, they are like machines, but they need to pause for an hour, a day, or a week. Depends on the leadership rank in the organizations to really strategize what he's doing today. And this is where all of these new ideas of working smart than hard can be translated into tools and technologies and processes. And if you look at our lead to cash process today, it's all digitalized. From the time today that we are trying to reflect what we sell to the customers. Everything that we do today in terms of target campaigns and target account mapping and lead generation through digital channels, all the way to the lifetime value of the customers and creating loyalty is being driven by a seamless digital interactions. Today, the Salesforce.com is on my phone. I check the progression on an hourly basis. I check the updates. I don't talk to people. I don't call them. I don't ask for an update. And I'm able to be on top of my top line and bottom up through digital channels. But this has been translated over time where all of these guys in the different layers have started to build up. And that's a culture that allows us to transfer all of these ideas into either digital engagement solutions or improved processes at the end of the day. So for us, I think technology is the results of the thinking, but the thinking need to be there and the thinking need to be injected on the daily base and daily activities of the people. So I would like to call everyone the chairman of what he do or the CEO of what he do. And it seems like people really like it and enjoy it and they feel empowered, owners, and they come up with their own ideas and they see the ideas are really implemented in the ground. And to be honest, it's also an accountability that they take over the time, because I am the guy who created the strategy and there's 6-7 people who's been the new recruiter are following the new mindsets, and the new 6 recruiters think in a different way and they build it for the next wave of people. So it's a good pride moment for people to change the strategical thinking into practicality, and then the technology and the processes will come eventually in the next steps.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. Abdi, this has been a great conversation, and as we've talked, I've taken away, I think, a number of best practices that really make sense and have helped you and your team be successful. If I highlight a few that I heard, I think first of all, that entrepreneurial spirit has been a key part of that, and how you've built the team and inspired the team, and even how the titles that you've given your team align with that. And I think that's really great. I think from an industry perspective, having that developer advocate has really been a differentiator for your organization, and how you've turned that into more of a consultative sales process. We're a big believer that is absolutely a best practice in the industry and really does shorten the time to revenue and gives you an opportunity for more growth. So I think that's really key. You talked about your 4 pillars. I think that's awesome. Having a plan and being responsible for that plan is clearly interesting. And then sharing a little bit of your secret sauce there with the 1 Hour Strategy book that you use as part of your management style, I think is also a really, really interesting best practice. This has been a great conversation. I've learned so much about your journey. Really appreciate your support and your personal excitement about the space. We're just getting started. I think that's the thing that's so fun is, this journey has been a bit uphill, but I think we're starting to see the key results of this hard work as we move into this next phase of the business. And I'm really excited to see where you take this, because you're clearly leading the way there at E&D Enterprise, and excited to be working together with you on this. Any last thoughts to share as we
absolutely. Thanks, Kevin. It's always been nice and exciting, and usually this is one of the sessions that I really don't see my watch and look at the clock, and it's always fun and exciting. It's been an honor to be around, and thanks for the opportunity again, Kevin. I think it's important for the rest of the industry, our peers, customers and partners at the same time, to really go deeper in the thought process of the people who's really working in the industries, to share best practice, to learn from each other. And I believe in collaborations. We are in the collaboration space and we are in the collaboration business. So we always a good believer, and that's reflected in our brand with EngageX, being engaged, being collaborated, being inspired, influenced, and being influenced as well. And I think it's important for people to speak up and share so we can elevate the whole industry to the next level, as you guys are doing also in the Acceleration Alliance. Again, congratulations in the progress that you guys have made in no time. I feel the entrepreneurship energy coming all the time when I talk to you, Roberts, and the rest of the team, because you are in the same journey of entrepreneurship and growing and doing great and amazing stuff. And hopefully we will see this alliance is going to an association of a bigger setup that doesn't only cover CPaaS, but probably customer engagement services as well in the near future. So thank you so much, Kevin, and it's always a pleasure and fun to have these kind of talks with you and the team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Appreciate your time joining us there from UAE, and look forward to getting together in person as soon as we can. So thanks again for your time and all that you've shared, and look forward to talking again soon.
Thank you, Kevin. All the best. Take care.